Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, and in this video we are going to discuss, or I'm just starting the series for PYQs, previous year question paper. For the subject code is BIS613D. Okay, the subject name is cloud computing, and this is going to be for the module 1, where I'm just going to discuss. Okay, I'm also going to explain the questions, okay, along with the answer, what points you can include in that. Okay, whether it is asked for 8 marks or whether it is asked for 10 marks. Okay, so before wasting any time, let's get started. So the first question is explain. Okay, for this is from the module 1. Explain platform evolution of the computer technologies with the need diagram. Okay, so these questions come from the textbook. Here I have mentioned. Okay, textbook topic point number is 1.1.1. Okay, the platform evolution is the topic name. Okay, under that you have something called the age of internet computing. Okay, so now here you can see the diagram which you have to draw for this question, because in the question itself they have told along with the need diagram you have to explain it, right? So let's not waste any time, let's get started. I'll start with the explanation. So before writing the answer, you do not just start with the diagram. You go first, write the thing what is required. Okay, first definition. Okay, why platform evaluation matters, that you can mention, and then go with this diagram. Okay, so platform evolution means how computing system changed step by step over the many years. Earlier, computer or computing was not done using the large centralized computers, right? Later, computers came smaller, cheaper, and more powerful. Right, the earlier computing was not done with the large centralized computers. Later, the computers became smaller, cheaper, and more powerful. After that, computers started connecting through networks, then clusters, grids, peer-to-peer systems, and finally, cloud computing came to an picture. Right. So this topic explains how we move from mainframe computers to cloud computing and IoT. Okay, so that is what there in this diagram. Okay, what I'm saying is the topic is going to explain how we move from mainframe computers to the cloud computing. Okay, cloud computing and IoTs. Okay, so the textbook also explains the modern distributed computing. Okay, to become the data intensive and network centric. Okay, so these are the things which points included. Okay, which you have to write. Okay, so first start with this. Okay, how platform evolution explains. Okay, the evolution means how computing system change step by step over the many years. Okay, and next thing you can tell like how from centralized computing, how it has been shifted to the distributed cloud computing. Okay, and then include the points like computing technology evolved over the last 60 years. So how it is being evolved is what I will explain in the next slide. Okay, and earlier systems were centralized, modern systems are, this is very important point. Okay, so earlier systems were the centralized, and modern system which we use now are the distributed and internet based. Okay, so remember this keyword called centralized, and okay, it was used in the earlier system, and in modern system now we have the distributed systems, distributed and internet based system. This evolution created the base for HPC, HTC, clusters, grid, P2P, okay, peer to peer, and then internet clouds and IoT. Okay, so that is there in this diagram. Here you can see HTC, HPC, and I will explain, okay, what HTC, HPC means, okay, and then you have clusters, P2P network, okay, and then data grids, okay, Web 2.0 service, internet clouds, and then internet of, okay, IoT, Internet of Things. So that is what is there in this point. Okay, the evolution created the base from, it started from HPC. Okay, and now we have, okay, it started from HPC, and then now in the distributed system we are connected with the distributed systems, okay, along with the internet based system. Okay, so that is what you have to write. And then cloud computing is an outcome of platform evolution, virtualization, and network based service. Okay, so include this point and then draw the diagram. Okay, and next here we'll try to understand the each keywords. Okay, so here you can see the flow. Look at the diagram. The evolution started from the mainframe computers, right? Mainframe computers, and then it moved to the mini computers. Okay, remember this keywords. Okay, it will be easy for you to write the explanation. So it started, evolution started from the main computers, then mini computers, and then to the personal computers. Then it came with portable and pervasive devices, after that clusters and MPPs. Okay, and then you have grid computing, peer to peer, okay, networks, and then internet clouds. Okay, and then finally SOA, okay, web services and IoTs. Okay, so in exam you can draw this. Okay, you can just remember this flow. Okay, draw the diagram and remember this flow keywords to write the explanation. Even if you don't remember the full textbook diagram, this flow diagram is enough to explain the concept clearly. Okay, so next I'll just explain the what mainframe consists, okay, then what mini computer means, and then how it came to a personal computers, right? So first in mainframe computers, it was used around 1950 to 1970. These were very large centralized computers. They were mainly used by big companies and government organizations. It's easy to remember, right? So mainframes were used around 1950 to 70. Okay, 50 to 70, you remember. And then they were used very in the large central computers. Okay, centralized computers. And next is they were mainly used by the big companies and the government organization. Okay. So government organization and big companies is very huge, right? So for that you can just use the mainframe computers. Okay, before it used to be used in big companies and government organization when we talk about mainframe compute computers. Okay, and it used to use the large centralized computers. Okay, not the distributed. Okay, so next is we have, okay, after the mainframe computers, mini computers came to an picture, which was during the 1960 to 1980. The lower cost than the mainframes. Okay, so it was lower cost as compared to the mainframes, and then used in colleges and small businesses. So here examples you can give: DEC, PDP-11 and VAX series. Okay, next is personal computers. So in personal computers, it became popular around 1970 to 1980. 1990. Okay, so remember 1950 to 70, 60 to 80s. Okay, this came to an picture, and then 70 to 90. Okay, personal computer came to an picture when it became popular. Okay, and then because of, okay, how it became popular, because it was built with VLSI microprocessors. Okay, how it become popular? Because of VLSI microprocessor. This was a major change because computing became available for individual users, not only for big organization. Okay, so this made a huge impact on the people, not only for organizations or for the government or not in the colleges. Okay, or not for only the small businesses. This became popular because it made a huge impact where it was helpful for the individual users. Okay, for normal people also, it brought a huge impact. okay, on people. So this was the major change because computing became available for individual users, not only for the big organization. Okay, so this was about the platform evolution stages, okay, for early computing. So here I talked about from mainframes computers to mini computers, and from mini computers to personal computers, okay, how it came, okay, from 1950 to 1970, and from 1960 to 1980, and from 1970 to 1990. Okay, so this theory part you have to remember for this thing, okay, mainframe computers, mini computers, and personal computers. Next is modern evolution from devices to cloud. So till here it is clear, from personal computers we had devices, right? Next is, okay, so it's easy to remember, right? First one is mainframe, next is mini computers, and then personal computers. So that information you can just remember and write. Okay, and next, after the devices, modern evolution from devices to cloud. Okay, how it happened is what we are going to understand in this slide. Okay, so the next stage is portable and pervasive devices. From around 1980 to 2000, laptops, mobile devices, and wireless devices became common, right? Okay, so it became common during the 1980s to 2000. Laptops, mobiles, devices, and wireless devices became common. So these devices supported both wired and wireless application. Okay? So these devices, what it supported, both wired and wireless application it supported. So after that, from around 1990 onwards, HPC and HTC systems became popular. Okay, so now understanding what I'm saying, the after 1990 onwards, HPC and HTC systems became popular. Okay, so these systems were used inside the clusters, grids, internet clouds, and large data centers. Okay, so here in the portable and pervasive devices, what you have to understand is, okay, so this devices support for both wired and wireless applications. Okay, and next what you have to remember, HPC and HTC systems became popular. Okay, HPC and HTC became popular, and then the systems were used inside, okay, this system which is HPC and HTC systems were used inside clusters. First one is cluster, then grids, and then internet clouds, and then you have large data centers. Four things are, okay, so HPC and HTC systems were used inside the clusters, next is grids, and then internet clouds, and then you have large data centers. Okay, this is how computing shifted from single machine computing to the large scale distributed and cloud computing. Okay, from devices to cloud computing, how it shifted. Okay, so it shifted from how, because it was supporting both wired and wireless application. Okay, so then HPC and HTC systems became popular. Okay, so once it became popular, HPC and HTC systems were used inside the clusters, grid, internet clouds, and large data centers. Okay, so and this is how computing shifted from single machine to the large scale distributed cloud computing. Okay, so here you can remember this flow so that it will be easy for you to remember. Okay, so that is what I explained just now. Next, we'll understand what HPC and HTC is. So HPC is something that, whenever I'm saying high performance computing. Okay, so it is focusing on what performance is relatable to which keyword, it is focusing on speed, right? So HPC means high performance computing, okay, which is going to focus on the speed. It is used, okay, when it is used when one large problem must be solved very fast. Okay, so it is used when you have a problem and you want to solve that problem very fast. Okay, so it focuses on the speed. Okay, so HPC stands for high performance computing. Okay, and it is going to focus on what? Speed. And where it is being used? When you are working on large problem and your problem should be solved very fast. Okay, so example, you can give weather forecasting, simulations, okay, scientific simulations, and then engineering analysis. Okay, so when I say HPC, you should think about the speed. Okay, speed for one big problem. Okay, so if I'm talking about HPC, you have to remember speed for solving one big problem. Okay, so now next we have is HTC. So what HTC is? HTC means high throughput computing. So throughput focuses on the task. Okay, the number of tasks it is going to focus on. So HTC focus on the number of tasks completed per unit time. Okay, so HTC is going to focus on the number of tasks completed. Okay, it is focusing on the number of tasks completed. But how? Per unit time. Okay, it is going to focus on the number of tasks completed per unit time. Okay, so HTC, T stands for, you just remember HTC, T is focusing on the throughput, number of task. Okay, throughput, task, and time you can remember for HTC. Throughput, task, and time. Okay, so HTC focus on the number of tasks completed per unit. Okay, per unit time. Next example you can give here is web search, cloud search, okay, e-commerce, banking transaction. Okay, so here you can say that HTC is equal to the many jobs completed over the time. Okay, so it is going to complete the task, okay, over the time, and that to how many jobs it is going to complete or many tasks it is going to complete over the time. Okay, so in exam, if you explain the platform evolution, mention that computing moved from HPC focus system to the HTC focus system. Okay, so whenever you are explaining the platform evolution, you should also explain that how from HPC it moved to HTC. Okay, how HPC focus system moved to HTC focus system. Okay, or HTC cloud system you can see. So that's it. Next we have is, it is new computing. Okay, so yeah, new computing paradigm. So because of platform evolution, three important new computing paradigm schemes. First is service oriented architecture, okay, which is also called SOA. Okay, SOA stands for service oriented architecture. So SOA supports reusable service and web 2.2 application, and the second is internet clouds. Okay, second is internet cloud. First is service oriented architecture, and then you have internet cloud. So internet clouds means cloud computing became possible because of virtualization. Okay, so internet clouds, how it became popular or how it became possible, it was only because of these three keywords. First one is virtualization, and then large data centers, and third one is, here it is not mentioned, and the third one is high speed networks. Three keywords you have to remember. Okay, so how internet clouds was possible due to only virtualize three keywords: virtualization, large data centers, and high speed networks. Okay, and then third is internet of things, so which is also called as IoT. So IoT uses technologies like RFID, GPS, and sensors to connect real world objects to the internet. Okay, so here you can at least remember GPS and sensors. These two words are very easy to remember. Okay, when we talk about IoT, everyone remembers the keyword called GPS. Okay, and you know why GPS is used. So that explanation you can give, real time explanation. Okay, how it is connected and how it is tracking the location. Those example, real world examples you can mention for IoT. Okay, and how sensor is being used in the real world problems. Okay, how it works. That example you can give at least, right? So IoT uses technologies like GPS and sensors to connect the real world objects to the internet. So the evolution is not only about hardware, it also includes the software, networking, and virtualization, okay, along with the services. Okay, so the evolution is not only about the hardware, it also includes the software. This point is very important. Okay, so evolution is not only about the hardware, it is going to include the software, networking, virtualization, and services. Okay, cloud services, you can say. Okay, so yeah, so this was about this slide. Okay, computing paradigms from platform evolution. Okay, so this is the flow which you can remember easily, right? Next is important keywords which you have to remember for the exam for this specific question. Okay, these keywords are very important. These keywords you have to just make a short note, and for this question, no, you have to write this keywords. Okay, and wherever you are using these keywords, no, you just underline it. Okay, mainframes, mini computers, personal computers, portable device, HPC, HTC, clusters, MPPs, P2P networks, data grids, okay, SOA. So then write the full form of it: virtualization, internet clouds, and internet of things. Okay, web services. So those things, okay, these keywords you have to use, and do not forget to underline these keywords. Okay, so that's it for this video. Okay, so write down the answer. Okay, this was covered in the first slide, and these points. Okay, so here you can see, begin with the definition of platform evolution. Okay, from platform evolution, how it changed to cloud computing, from centralized system to distributed and cloud system. And then draw the evolution diagram. Okay, diagram you can draw which is there from the textbook, and then you can remember the diagram which I mentioned in the previous line, from the mainframes to the internet clouds and IoT, how it, okay, how it came from mainframe, and how changes happened, okay, year by year, and how it performed, or how they implemented, or how it developed to internet clouds and IoT, and then explain each state briefly with the timeline and examples. And this is very important. If you are explaining the platform evolution, explain the HPC and HTC distinction, okay, because it is central to internet computing. And then end with the conclusion. Okay, platform evolution forms the foundation of distributed and cloud computing. Okay, so that's it for this video, and in the next video I am going to discuss the second question. Okay, so yeah, see you in the next video, and do not forget to subscribe to my channel. Bye.